When you first hear the word self-improvement, whether it's from a YouTube channel, from a book, from whatever sort of external source it was, your mindset changes and you are influenced. You start to become a lifelong learner once you kind of stop that, maybe the sort of coping mentality of like, oh, what if you get hit by a bus tomorrow or whatever. You start to delay gratification more. And you may have heard of something known as the marshmallow test, which is where an experiment was done where they placed children inside of a room and said that you can either have this one marshmallow now, or in 15 minutes you will be able to have 2 marshmallows. And some people took the 1 marshmallow immediately, some people waited 15 minutes and had 2 marshmallows. And the people who ended up taking the first marshmallow immediately may look at the other people having more enjoyment with 2 marshmallows and thinking to themselves they're really dumb and an idiot because they indulged in instant gratification rather than just waiting 15 minutes to end up having 2 marshmallows. And that is the whole process of just not being an arsehole to your future self. Trying to do something every single day that will benefit your future self will end up changing your life for so much better. People always end up looking back on themselves from 6 months ago thinking that they were really stupid because of these decisions that they made, and that happens to seemingly everyone. Everyone thinks that they end up hating their past selves, and your goal after watching this video is to not hate your current self. Your future self is still you and will be looking back on you right now 6 months in the future, and you want that person to not hate you because of the actions that you're currently taking now. Now, sometimes you may look back on your sort of person 6 months ago, it's a bit cringe, but it's still quite pleasant. You're still quite happy and thankful for the things that they did, the choices they made. I mean, I'm grateful for the things that my 6 month past self did, starting to get into fitness, starting to improve their diet, sugar fasts. I'm very grateful that my past self made those decisions, and I want you to be grateful for your current self 6 months in the future, when you're 6 months in the future, because that will end up being you. That person who's 6 months in the future from now, when this video comes out, that may end up being like January, February, you are still going to be alive, most likely at that point in time, and you need to understand that you have to make the decisions that are going to benefit that person 6 months in the future rather than your current self. And that is the whole process and concept of instant versus delayed gratification, because you don't really want to hate your younger self because of the things that they did. You want to invest in delayed gratification and love your future self, be grateful for the choices that they made, instead of looking back with disdain and dissatisfaction because they decided to play video games for 12 hours a day or whatever. However, many people do have the mentality that like, oh, what if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, or live every day like it's your last. Those sort of bad attitudes and bad mentalities which are inherently sort of part of the instant gratification mindset, and yeah, they're not the best things that you should take with you, because the chances are, if you do have the attitude that you live every day like it's your last, it's not going to be your last day. And if you do live every day like it's your last day, it's more likely that your last day is going to come sooner, because you may be indulging in things that are unhealthy for you, like drugs, alcohol, and all that sort of stuff. It's quite a weird prophecy in a way that if you say that you're going to live every day like it's your last, it's more likely that your next day will be your last. It's a weird concept, but I just highly recommend that you sort of don't use this analogy, this sort of instant gratification mindset. And while I recommend living in the present moment instead of being unmindful and having your thoughts elsewhere, living in the present moment is very good, but that's mindfulness instead of living every day like it's your last by sort of indulging in pleasures that aren't actually good for you and will, when you're 6 months in the future, because that person is still you, by the way, 6 months in the future, is going to look back on you with disdain and active like despisement because you decided to make a bad decision, and maybe you ended up walking out into the road and getting like your arm broken or whatever, and you're going to look back on yourself 6 months ago with a lot of hate and a lot of dissatisfaction because of a stupid decision that you made. And yeah, the message of this video is to just try to do one thing per day. Some people also sort of continue to do the actions that they don't realize are actually causing their depression and their sadness. Many people will be depressed, be sad, wonder why, but then continue to do things like eating sugar, scrolling on social media, drugs, drinking, instant gratification, but then not realize that it's causing them the sadness that they are experiencing, and then they have to do that to escape the sadness, and it's quite a vicious circle, quite a vicious cycle. The message of this video is that even if you just do one thing per day that is going to benefit your future self, your life will change invariably. I really recommend just doing something like one habit per day, like reading a personal development book on entrepreneurship or like health, social skills, anything that you can possibly imagine. Just one thing per day 10 pages a day, one workout a day, one workout a week even, something you know will benefit your future self invariably, will end up changing your life so much. And if you are going to sort of indulge in an instant gratification activity, analyze what's going to happen to your future self before you actually do it. And while this isn't an excuse for you to do the things like eating a bar of chocolate and then saying, oh, this one bar of chocolate isn't going to have much of an impact, but if you have that sort of decision and need to make that decision at least 50 times before you end up getting to the 6th month away mark, it's going to have an impact. And even though one single chocolate bar is not going to have an impact, the 50 that you ended up eating in that 6-month period will have an impact. So just sort of think about the things that you're going to end up doing once you've done this action and how that's going to end up impacting your future self. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found value out this video, and I also recommend subscribing because I love this community of young tribal people who are willing to improve themselves so much more than they already have, and good luck.